went to bleeding races, 'twas on the 9th of June, 1862 on a summer's afternoon. I took the bus to Banbury's and she was heavy laden. Away we went along Collingwood Street, that's on the road to Bleeding.
You're watching TOON Army TV. Welcome back to the channel. This is the Wolverhampton Wanderers versus Newcastle United match preview this Sunday at Molineux. It's a 4:30 kickoff in the Premier League live on the TV. Now, if you haven't seen these match previews before, in the first part of the preview, I'll talk all things Newcastle. Then in the second part of the preview, I'll talk all things the opposition, Wolverhampton Wanderers. So if you are new around here, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and also jot your comments down below for your starting 11s and your score predictions. So Newcastle, we start off this weekend in 30th place, mid-table. We've picked up 7 points from 5 games played, 15 points available. It's been a decent start to the season, but could have been better if we performed in the other 2 games that were lost, and that was against Brighton and Manchester United. We lost 4-1 against Manchester United last time out at home, and that was our end to the unbeaten run, which was started back in September. We deserved to lose. I thought Manchester United were the better side. We got off to the perfect start. We knew that they were under pressure. But if you don't take the initiative and go for that second goal, if you defend too deep and you don't attack and work the goalkeeper enough, then against those sort of sides, you will get punished. And I didn't want to underestimate Manchester United going into the game because I knew what qualities they brought to the table, and they certainly showed that last time out. And I think we were second best throughout the whole game. There was too many passengers in the side, and we were just not defensively on it either. And I can't really blame Carl Darlow for the 4 goals that went past him either last weekend. Now, if we could beat Wolves on Sunday, we can't actually leapfrog Wolves, and we can actually go ahead of them, but we have to try and be a lot better than we were against Manchester United, because we've shown it in glimpses that we can perform on the day. It's not going to be easy to go down to Molineux. We haven't exactly got a bad record there, but since coming up against Wolves, since they've been back in the Premier League, we haven't really got the wins that we've needed. We've come close a couple of times, but close isn't enough. And with Wolves, we know that they are going to be, one of the favourites, to be up there come the end of the season, and they're going to be one of the favourites for the game on Sunday with all the bookies. Now, Steve Bruce, I know he will go with a 4-4-2 formation. That's the formation that he tends to play. However, I'd rather go the 4-2-3-1 formation, which he used last season, which actually worked. Players actually played in their correct positions, and they were a lot more comfortable, and we were getting the results that we wanted in terms of climbing up the Premier League table. I don't know why he's changed it to 4-4-2 for the new season, because for me, I get it, we were crying out for 2 up front, but I just feel like the players are playing out of position. You see Hendrick on that right-hand side. I think he's more suited to a number 10. That's just one clear example. And I think in that midfield as well, we're getting too overrun. Whereas if you play the 4-2-3-1 and you put Hayden and Shelby in the CDM, then they can stop, the opposition counter-attacking. And I feel like if we go into this game with 4-4-2, I do fear for us, because Wolves have got a side that can, get in your faces. They've got pace about them, and they will, attack at every one time, and we've got to be careful for that. And I feel like Steve Bruce needs to go back to the drawing board, because it hasn't been working, in previous games. And I feel like if he continues a 4-2-2, then I feel like we're going to get found out eventually, and we're going to lose more games than we'll win. And that's not exactly what I want. Now, the lads, in my opinion, they need to be more ruthless going into this match on Saturday, because I feel like last week we were too toothless. When you get a good start against a top 6 side, then you want to be looking to get that second goal and kill it off any momentum that Manchester United could have had. If we get a similar start against Wolves on Sunday, if we take the lead, we need to look to build on it. That's been our problem so far this season. It's been our problem, under Steve Bruce, because we've got the side there that can do it. It's just sometimes we have that mentality issue where we switch off, and you can't afford to do that at this level. At times we're too deep. We need to be pushing up. We need to get up the pitch. We need to start, working the goalkeepers, because if we don't, like I say, we'll lose more games than we'll win, and that's not what you want. And I want to see the lads really put on a performance this week, and I feel like they over won after last Saturday's game. Everyone was up for it, that we could have got 3 points, but we were the complete opposite. But I feel like with Wolves, yes, they've got quality, but I believe that we can go to Molineux and get something if we put our mind to it. But it all depends on the side in which Steve Bruce goes with, and his formation and all that. It's all going to depend on the players' attitudes as well. Because if we go down there with a bad attitude, if we go down there with a defeatist attitude, then we'll not get what we want. But if we go there with an attitude that, yeah, we can actually get something, it's possible. We nearly did it last season when Almiron gave us the lead at Molineux, but then we switched off and Wolves got back into it. Yes, they deserved, that point. And let's be fair, they should have won the game. But if we could start off anything like that and get in their faces, then we've got a chance. We know that Wolves will make mistakes. Now, players to watch out for if you're a Wolverhampton Wanderers fan watching this. First up, ASM. He's our go-to man in terms of quality. He's got the pace, he's got the skill, he's got the trickery. He will, bring players into the match, such as Wilson, or he'll just go alone. And he likes to break down the defence. He'll take out, 2 or 3 players. If he's not going to bring a player into the game, he will score a goal. And if you keep him quiet, then I think you're going to keep our side quiet, because we massively rely on ASM. Almiron, he hasn't really been playing the last couple of games. He did play against Manchester United last time out 5 minutes. But for me, that's not enough. I think he needs to start games. We know what he brings to the table in terms of quality. We know that he's a player who likes to get forward. He has got a positive attitude, but I feel like sometimes he needs support. Sometimes he needs, the help around him. Sometimes he overplays it, and I feel like, if he could stop his game from Almiron getting forward into the box and, maybe, working the goalkeeper, then again, you're going to stop our attacking threat. And we know that if we don't have ASM and Almiron, ticking, then how's the likes of Callum Wilson going to get the goals? Do you know what I mean? Like, how we're going to, get into the faces of Wolves. Talking of Callum Wilson, we know what he brings as well. He's a striker that's capable of scoring double figures. He's had a good start to the season. He's scored 4 goals already for us, and he's looking to score more. We know that he's a player who, likes to peel off the defence. We know that he's very good from crosses that come into the box as well, like using his head, or just being in the right place at the right time in terms of, if a scrappy ball goes into the box, he's there to finish, like he did against Burnley. And that's what he brings to the table, a clinical striker. And I think if you lose him, then I think he will score past you. So that's the warning signs there. And Shelby, we know what he also brings to the table from the centre of midfield. We know that 9 times out of 10 he's going to be, working hard in terms of trying to break down the Wolves' attack. But we know what he's like in terms of his Hollywood balls, spraying the balls left and right. And we know that he can get forward. We know that he can shoot from long, distance. So if you cut out at the back, he might actually put one in the back of the net, or he might just, bring another player into the game. We know what Shelby can do. But if he's stopped from doing that, if he goes with his little sulky self, then it could be, an easy afternoon for Wolves, especially that midfield, if he doesn't really pull his weight. But we know what Shelby can do. It's whether or not he shows it on the afternoon. Now, team lineup for the game on Sunday, the team I think Steve Bruce will go with. He's going to go with the 4-4-2 formation. That's normal. But I'm going to go with a 4-2-3-1 formation. Now, in goal, Caldolo. We know he picked up an injury against Manchester United. I would have actually personally taken him off for Mark Gillespie, but he kept him on the pitch, and he seemed all right, to be fair, towards the end, and he's been all right all week, so he's going to start for me. Left back, Jamal Lewis didn't play his best game against Manchester United. I felt like he was ball watching at times. He needs to massively improve. On the right hand side, Manquillo. I'm surprised he didn't start against Manchester United. Kraft was a bit all over the place, but I definitely welcome Manquillo for this one. The 2 centre backs, first up, Captain Jamal Lascelles, and alongside him, Federico Fernandez. The 2 sitting in deep, John Joe Shelby and Isaac Hayden. Now, Isaac Hayden did pull up an injury against Manchester United and had to go off the field. I hope he's okay, but I will put him in the side. If he is injured, then maybe I'll start one of the long staffs. Maybe Steve Bruce might have to revert the formation in order to fit these players in, but we'll go with Hayden anyway. In the number 10, Almiron, I expect him to start this one rather than be dropped. We know what he brings, we know he's got quality, but we just need to make sure that we're getting the ball into him and that he's being supported as well, not just doing it all on his own. Now, on the left-hand side, I'm going to welcome Ryan Fraser rather than Joe Linton. I've just had enough of him. Joe Linton, for me, just doesn't do it. He doesn't work hard enough. He doesn't put himself around the box. He was too quiet against Manchester United. Whereas Fraser, we know that he's got pace. We know that he can force mistakes. He did that against Burnley when he came on. He forced Pope into a mistake. He conceded the pen, and we scored from it, all from his hard work. And I feel like now he's due a game. He's done well for Scotland, so why not bring him into the side so he can show what he can really bring, to the table. And I know for a fine fact with Wolves having pace, we're going to need, Fraser anyway to match that. And then on the right-hand side for pace, I'm going to go with ASM. You can't drop this lad. Yes, he didn't exactly have his best game against Manchester United, but we know what he brings, as I've mentioned. His pace, his trickery, his skill. And without him in the side, I don't think we're really a side that's going to take and do much under Steve Bruce. And the focal point up front on his own, Callum Wilson, we need him for, in terms of that know-how, that peeling off the defence, being at the right place at the right time to put the ball into the back of the net. Now we're going to jump into Wolverhampton Wanderers. They'll start the weekend in 6th place. They've got 9 points from 5 games played. A very good start to the season for them. They're actually unbeaten in their last 2 games. They beat Fulham 1-0, and last time out they beat Leeds United 1-0 at Elland Road. They deserved to win both games. They should have scored more, and I expected nothing less from Wolves this season. After 2 back-to-back 7th place finishes, Wolves with a win can go into the top 4. They can actually get 2nd place if results go their way, but we don't want Wolves winning this game. We want to make sure that we come away from Molineux with the points, or at least that point. But if they do get the win, as they're going to be favourites, then they can jump into that top 4. So that's the incentive for them to go at us on Sunday. Nuno Espirito Santo, he's the Wolves manager. As mentioned, 2 back-to-back 7th place finishes. I felt like last season he was very, very unlucky not to get Wolves, that Europa League spot for this season, because despite them having Europa League last season, for them to finish 7th again, then for me, I felt like they're just unlucky. For Arsenal to win the FA Cup against Chelsea and for them to finish outside the top 6 and get that Europa League spot at the expense of Wolves is very, very harsh. But I suppose that's football. Maybe them not having Europa Leagues helped them in terms of their form. But I feel like Wolves are a strong opposition under Nuno. He's building something there. I feel like every season they're getting better and better. And I'd love to have that at Newcastle. But unfortunately, with our ownership and our manager, that's not the case. But you can see the philosophy. You can see what he's trying to instill in that side. We can see, from the outside looking in, they're a very direct side. They're a side who like to get forward. They like to play, sexy football. And I've seen it for myself. And I'd love to see them times back, especially when, you were watching Newcastle under King Kev back in the 90s. If only we'd seen that again. So Wolves fans, you're very, very lucky. But he's a very good manager. And he's definitely recruited very well. Since coming back to the Premier League, he's been a real breath of fresh air. And long may it continue, because I feel like, he's really getting it together. Now, Wolves, I've put down as favourites for the game in terms of the win. Not for the fact that it's Wolves or anything like that. I just feel like you've got a better side. He's a 6th in the league. He's a defensively sound. And you can get forward and you can score goals. Whereas we're the complete opposite. We defend too deep and we don't score enough goals. That's our problem. And I feel like if we play anything like we did against Manchester United, you've got a chance on Sunday of getting another 3 points. I've got Wolves down as a counter-attacking side, and I don't think that's going to change on Sunday. And Steve Bruce will have to be wary of that. In terms of the formation for Wolves, they go with a 3-5-2 formation, so they play the 3 at the back, the 5 in midfield, and the 2 up front. Now, they get a lot of joy from the midfield because they've got 5 there, all compact, all working for each other, and trying to get the ball into the front 2 as much as possible. And that is always going to help, their cause, especially if you've got quality in the midfield. It's always going to help, especially if you've got 2, sort of strikers, working off each other to try and put the ball in the back of the net. Yes, it's always dangerous playing the 3 at the back, but you've got to get it right. Now, I think for us playing 3 at the back last season, it kind of worked in some games, but not always. And I feel like Wolves have got the side, they've got the pace, they're a very direct side, as mentioned before, so we're going to have to be wary of that. Now, players to watch out for on the Wolves side of things. So first up, Raul Jimenez, their Mexican beast. He's got 3 goals already for them this season. I do expect him to get double figures. He's a ruthless striker, so if we don't defend very well, if we continue to be deep and he gets the service, he's going to put the ball in the back of the net. We know what he brings to the table, and he's a no-nonsense striker who, if we make that one big error, the ball's going to go in the back of the net, and you do expect him to get double figures come the end of the season. Now, Ruben Neves is another one from the midfield. He's very good at his long-range efforts. We've seen them in the past, against the likes of Derby in the Championship, and we've seen it, in the Premier League. He's a very workman-like midfielder who, will love the ball at his feet. And if we don't get close to him, then 9 times out of 10, he's going to put the ball in the back of the net. He does like to bring players into the game, so we're just going to have to be wary of that. Daniel Podenso, who I've been very impressed with the last couple of seasons. On that left-hand side, he's got pace. He's a striker. He can actually go into a striker from the left-hand side. He can actually play up front. He can be that focal point. but we know what pace he brings to the side, and we know that the quality down that left-hand side, somebody's going to have to pick him up. So if it's going to be Manquillo, if it's going to be one of the midfielders, George Shelby, whoever, we're going to have to get at him, because if we don't, if he gets a lot of joy down that left-hand side, we're in big trouble. Then I've also mentioned Connor Cody and Real Patricio. So Connor Cody, the centre-back, he's managed to get, a couple of caps for England. He's had a couple of decent seasons there at Wolves. He's been there, from the very start, and he's a solid brick wall. And he's got that good understanding with Real Patricio, the goalkeeper, who, for me, he's got a lot of European experience. You've seen him around, for Sporting Lisbon in the Champions League, in the Europa League. And for Wolves to get these type of players, to build around the players that they've already got, they're a real force to be reckoned with. And like I say, once Wolves get going, they're a scary side to play against. And they're not the Wolves that we used to see maybe 10 years ago under Mick McCarthy and whatnot. They're actually a forever, grown club with the ownership that they've got. And they're just some of the players to watch out for. I'm sure they've got plenty more, like the likes of João Moutinho, just to name a few. But in terms of their whole side, we know what qualities they bring to the table. So we're going to look at whoscored.com for the opposition, for their strengths and weaknesses. There's only 3 on each side, so we'll have a look at them right now. So their strengths. First up, their counter-attacks. They're very good at getting forward, as mentioned. So we're going to have to make sure that if we are defending, that we'll get tight to the likes of Raul Jimenez, Ruben Neves, Podenso, because if we don't, then 9 times out of 10, they're going to put the ball into the back of the net. Aerial duels, they're very good, from set pieces. So when we're getting corners, we need to make sure that we're putting them in correctly, or free kicks, because 9 times out of 10, they will clear their lines and they'll try and win the ball as much as possible. They've got a lot, of tall players in their side. And when Wolves take the lead, they are very strong at keeping it. So if we go 1-0 down, it could be a long afternoon. We need to make sure that we're defending for as much as possible, as long as possible, and that we are, when we've got the ball, we'll try and maybe take the lead ourselves. Just get at Wolves, first thing, because if we don't, as mentioned, if they score first, then I do fear for us in terms of the scoreline. Now, 3 weaknesses. The first one, finishing, scoring chances. So yes, they will get chances, but there's times where they do actually make big errors in terms of the final third. They will waste chances, so we need to make sure that, if we do manage to clear our lines, that we'll get forward as quick as possible. Defending against attacks down the wings. So ASM is going to be pivotal, to us getting forward and exploiting Wolves' weakness in terms of, pace. So we know that at the back they're going to be a little bit slow, not the quickest. And if we can use ASM, if we can use the likes of, let's say, Shelby, Hayden, just get everyone pushing forward, the likes of, Almiron, then it's really going to help matters, going forward. And we know that Wilson's got a little bit of pace as well, if he can peel off the last defence. Defending against through balls attacks. So again, I think trying to get the ball into ASM and Almiron as much as possible, getting Wilson to peel off the defence is going to be critical. It's so critical to us, getting something out of the game on Sundays. In terms of a score prediction, I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. I don't think it's going to be easy down at Molineux. It's a tough place to go. Since Wolves have come back into the Premier League, we haven't beaten them yet. But I think a point would do it in terms of confidence, stopping the rot of that defeat against Manchester United. And not many teams are going to go to Wolves this season and get 3 points. And I think if we can just stay calm and play our game and play how we're capable of, then we've got every chance of potentially getting 3 points. But it's going to be a big ask. I'm not deluded to think that we're going to get 3 points, because we know what qualities that they've got, and we're not exactly great on the road at times. So 1-1, I'll stick with that. If we get 3 points, brilliant. If not, just let's not lose the game. Anyway, let me know your score predictions and let me know your start 11s for the game on Sunday. As mentioned, be sure to subscribe, turn on the notification bell if you're new around here. It always massively helps to grow the channel. I'm only 15 subscribers away now from 3,400 subscribers. So if you can help us along the road to that, that would be amazing. And yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all later. Take care.
Hey, hey,